sports, insight, and great storytelling. Starring Bobby Carpenter and Jeff Tito Thitoff. It's time to attack and dominate.
Attack and dominate on a chilly Monday. Tito, Carpenter, Bodie Wells with you. Got a big show lined up for you today, folks. Lots to talk about. A couple of guests on as well. Bill Bender, as we always have on. He will join us in the next segment there. Also, we will have Tyler Danburg, who is the play-by-play voice for the Ohio State women's basketball team. They're in action today at 4 o'clock against Notre Dame.
Oh.
Good morning, Bob.
Good morning, sir.
Vacay good?
Yeah, it was so good that I just didn't grab my headphones and mic screen off the desk. Sitting here looking around, thinking where they are.
Something's odd, yeah.
Yeah. So, got that going for me. But yeah, other than that, it was pretty good. Flight travel back wasn't elite, but once we got everything here and got everything situated, I felt pretty good about where it was. It just took a minute to get all the way home, if you will.
The NCAA down to the Sweet 16 on the men's side there. A couple of really interesting games yesterday. Iowa upset Florida last night. I actually stayed up and watched that one, and then the next game I also watched for a while, UConn and UCLA. Also, that St. John's, Kansas finish was amazing. I don't know if either one of you guys saw that or not.
Oh, yeah. I was locked in yesterday.
That St. John's, Kansas ties it up, I think it was, right, with 12 seconds left. 12 seconds left. Kansas had 3 fouls to give. So every time St. John's started to drive the ball up the floor, they'd foul them.
Yeah.
And it kept winding it down. And then with just, right there at the buzzer, then St. John's makes a layup to win it. St. John's, first time since 99 to the Sweet 16. So you got Patino back there.
I saw somebody say, Patino can make a lot happen with just a handful of seconds.
Yeah. That's a good one. I like that. That's pretty good, yes. Patino also could have been in the movie Sinners without any makeup.
Is there a chance that the young man who was guarding the St. John's player for Kansas that kind of got blown by at the end was just afraid he might wake up dead in a ditch somewhere?
Yes, I think that's probably what it was. Yes, that's very possible.
He beat Rick Pitino.
Yes. So we'll talk more about that with Bill Bender. Cavs host Orlando on Thursday. I mentioned the Ohio State women play Notre Dame today, 4 o'clock. Fan 2 for coverage on that one. In the NHL, the Jackets lost to the Islanders yesterday, 1-0. That was a tough one. They'd beaten Seattle 5-2 on Saturday. As it sits now, the Jackets are still in that 3rd spot in the Metro, so they're still in a good spot there. Right now, if the season ended, they would be playing against Pittsburgh in the first round, which is always fun. In the playoffs, anytime the Jackets fun. They have 12 games left. They're at Philly on Tuesday. Women's Frozen Four yesterday, championship game. Wisconsin took a 2-0 lead on Ohio State. After 2 periods, Ohio State rallied to tie it in the third, but then ended up losing 3-2. It's the 4th consecutive year they've played for the title. Wisconsin's now won it in 23, 25, and 26. Ohio State in 2024. So those schools, the elite of the elitist in the women's hockey world as far as the NCAA goes. All right, Bob, you've had plenty of time to rest up. I've gotten dumber. Make me smarter.
Time to get smarter. Morning Juice presents Today in History. Here's your professor, Bobby Carpenter.
All right, Bobby, go ahead.
Had you been doing all this, Bodie?
Monday through Thursday. I was off Friday.
Who did it on Friday?
I did it on Friday.
Well, that had to be entertaining.
I felt like I had some good stuff in there for you.
You did.
Yeah.
You did.
Oh, so you put it together for him.
I sprinkled in some sports this dates in history. I looked that up. Also had a few of those in there that I added on my own. I ad-libbed a little bit, Bob. So,
what does ad-lib mean? I mean, it's all ad-lib. There's no script to it.
Well, there's a script to the this date in history's got a script of like the things that are going on. There's a little bit of ad-libbing in it, but I'm saying I added to it. I audible added some things on my own.
Okay. All right.
Hot route.
There you go. It is Monday, March 23rd, the 82nd day of the year, 283 days remaining in this 2026. This date's 1775. Patrick Henry's Give Me Liberty or Give Me Death speech at St. John's Episcopal Church in Richmond, Virginia is given, helping stoke the coals, if you will, and spark the American Revolution.
I played him.
Patrick Henry,
Yep.
what, a play in elementary school?
It wasn't a play, and it was in high school when like internet first was like a thing, like very early stages. And our school participated in something with other schools where it was like a role playing kind of thing.
Ooh.
Don't. And you were assigned a character around the American Revolution and around all that. And so you had to participate as that person, communicate via the internet as that person. And I was Patrick Henry.
Okay.
We still won.
Well, what did you said on the internet? What did you do?
We got on computers in the library, and like there was almost like a chat thing going on. And
Okay, so you were typing. I was gonna say
Internet
there was-
chat.
yeah,
Yeah, I was going to say there was no.
that happens.
Yes, I was going to say there's no video of that going on. That's
I tried to load video, but I got rejected on that one.
that's interesting. Very, very interesting. My
Call me
goodness.
Patty Henry.
Of course, Patricia. This date, 1806. After reaching the Pacific Ocean, Lewis and Clark begin their journey back home, discovering much of the Louisiana Territory and all the way out west. This date, 1857. The first elevator is installed at 1488 Broadway in New York City.
Otis did it, right?
Elijah Otis. You're correct in saying that. Good job.
That's what I do, man.
I don't even want to know how you knew that, but
Wow. Statistically speaking, Tito, how often would you say elevators versus stairs?
Oh, yeah. That's,
I'm just asking.
no, that's right. Playing the role of Bobby Carpenter with Bodie Wells. That's great. Good for you.
there you go. This date, 1962, William DeWitt buys the Cincinnati Reds. You want to guess what the number was on it? What cost to own the Reds in 1962?
I'm going to guess 1.3 million.
I was under. I would have said hundreds of thousands,
You
500.
got to remember, they were a premier franchise back in the
Red
60s.
That's true. Yeah.
4.6 and 2.5. So
All right.
a little bit under you guys were. 1973, Yoko Ono is granted permanent residence in the United States
Country had
for
been
destroying the
saying
Beatles.
since. Yeah.
1974, Cher's Dark Lady hits number one.
Dog lady played black magic till the clock struck on the 12. She told me more about me than I knew myself.
There we go. This state, this is my favorite Hall & Oates song you're going to find out there. They've got a lot of bangers, but Rich Girl hits number one in 77.
You're a rich girl, and you're going too far, 'cause you know it don't matter anyway. You can rely on the old man's money. You can rely on the old man's money.
There we go. This date, on that same date, 1977. Curious, did you enjoy looking up any of this?
I'm trying to think. I'm going to be honest with you, Bob. I would have cut it up the Friday before you left. So
Been a minute.
you know, yeah,
it's been a minute, Mav.
Memory can't go back that far.
The first of the Frost Nixon interviews is recorded.
So what, in a sense, you're saying is that there are certain situations where the president can decide that it's in the best interest of the nation or something and do something illegal,
Well, when the president does it, that means that it is not illegal.
by definition.
Exactly. Exactly. If the president, if, for example, the president approves something, approves an action because of the national security, or in this case, because of a threat to internal peace and order of a significant magnitude, then the president's decision in that instance is one that enables those who carry it out to carry it out without violating a law. Otherwise, they're in an impossible position.
Wow. Did you ever see the Frost v. Nixon movie?
The movie, I told him I learned a lot about
Yeah.
the whole Nixon, kind of a lot of his whole legacy there from that movie, which my dad said was done really well.
Yeah, it was.
It was good. There was 10 interviews they sat down.
There were quite a few, yeah.
I told him like Frost at the equivalent. I didn't because you don't know this. My dad was like he was kind of like the Maury Povich of England.
Yeah, right. More of a celebrity probably than an actual. Yes,
he wasn't.
You
I mean,
not the father.
right.
yeah. I mean, he was like an entertainment journalist, not a hardcore political journalist, and he wasn't even American.
I think that'd be great. It's really unfortunate he's no longer with us, but Jerry Springer sat down with Trump.
Oh gosh, it'd be tremendous. Being able to sit down and watch some of that. So I was curious. I've seen clips. I've
There we go. See,
well, because I wasn't alive to watch the stuff live. I've seen the highlights and stuff from that, and it was pretty insightful. In the movie, I thought they did a very good job. I'm trying to think who played Nixon in the movie.
Oh, that was the same guy who was. I think he's dead now. He was also in Dave, the movie Dave, where Kevin Kline played the president. The president who got shot. He played like the bad guy, the antagonist in that one.
Michael Sheen played David Frost, and Frank Langella.
Yeah, Langella. Yeah, Frank Langella. That's the one. Yes, he's like guy you don't.
Kevin Bacon.
Yeah, Kevin Bacon. You can't remember until then you see. Oh yeah, I saw that guy in like 5 movies.
Oh yeah,
he's one of those guys.
Yes. Good call on that. This date, 1983, Michael Jackson's Billie Jean hits number 1.
Such freedom last week, Bob.
I'm hoping that you didn't sing.
Oh, I sang.
It's not just when I'm here. It's a rule that's going to be
all-encompassing.
Yes. It will always be in effect.
I got good comments.
Maybe you did, but that's going to be the rule now for the show. This date, 1985, John Fogerty's Centerfold hits number Centerfield, rather. Hits number 1.
Whoops. Well,
Did you get Centerfold from Jay Giles Band? That's okay. That's okay.
That's even better. I think I told him it was Jay Giles Band.
Did you?
I think I did. I was half out. I was halfway out the door last Friday.
I respect that.
So center field, not centerfold.
Tomato, tomato.
That's all right. This date, 1991, REM's Out of Time album hits number 1. There we go. And 1994, Wayne Gretzky sets an NHL record with his 802nd goal.
Gets it up to Courtnall. Jeff Courtnall starting the run. 2-on-2 short-handed. Lifted out, broken up. Up to Robitaille. Robitaille with Gretzky trailing. Gretzky looking. Yari Curry. McSorley to Gretzky. Scores! He did it! He did it! The greatest goal scorer in National Hockey League history is Wayne Gretzky.
There we go. I believe Ovi scored his 1,000th goal yesterday.
Yeah, I think you're right on that. I thought I saw that too.
Yeah. And when I doubt you would probably know. Do you know when they count the goals? Is that regular season, postseason? Because I thought Ovechkin, didn't he pass Gretzky?
That's 802 regular season. The 1,000 is Gretzky and Ovechkin, only two to do that with plus playoffs.
And that's playoffs then? Because they said
yes.
Gretzky's the only other guy to do it. And I knew that he had just passed Gretzky on his, or last season rather, on his total goals. Okay, there we go. Born on this date, 1929, the 4-minute mile man, Mr. Roger Bannister. One of my favorite actors, kind of not the huge roles, but did a great job in Rocky. He was a Gold Gloves boxer in his own right. Tony Burton, better known as Duke.
I know you're gonna have to do almost everything alone up here, but you know I'll be with you. Yeah, I know. Apollo was like my son. I raised him. And when he died, part of me died. But now, you're the one. You're the one that's gonna keep his spirit alive. You're the one that's gonna make sure that he didn't die for nothing. Now you're gonna have to go through hell. Worse than any nightmare that you ever dreamed. But in the end, I know you'll be the one standing.
That's right. That's right.
You know what you gotta do. Do it. Do it.
Oh, upstairs in that barn in Rocky IV. a couple of dudes hanging out, getting after it. And he actually came back for one of the newer Rockies. I think the Rocky Balboa he's in before his passing ultimately in 2016. One of Rothman's idols. He always talks about how when he met him, lead singer for the Cars, Mr. Rich Ocasek, born on this date in 1944.
Nothing's wrong. Who's gonna drive you home tonight?
There we go.
That was Rick Ocasek.
I call him Rich?
Yeah.
How do you know he didn't go by Rich?
His name was spelled R-I-C.
Oh.
Dump an H on the end.
You're right, yeah.
Ron Jaworski, Youngstown Penguins alum. Eagles quarterback, took him to the Super Bowl in 1980, turning 75.
Didn't have anything on Jaws. Sorry,
Oh, you
Carp.
didn't
There
get
was,
some good Jaws
there was
stuff off
highlights, but
ESPN?
it was all music, and then I couldn't seem to find any
ESPN stuff on him?
any of his.
He was up there for quite a while.
Yeah.
Moses Malone, turning 70 today, the 3-time MVP, 12-time All-Star and champ in 83.
Chairman of the boards was his nickname.
Is that what? There we go. Jason Kidd, turning 53, the current Mavs coach, former Mavs player. Gordon Hayward, former Celtics legend, turning All-Star in 17, turning 36 today.
Joe Ingles will inbound, fires it off to Hayward, on a dribble, on a step back, the jumper. Yes! Bedlam! The new money man! Knocks down the winner against Cleveland.
They're trying to break Hood free, but they find Hayward. 3 seconds to play. Down to 2. On a step back, Jay. Yes! Hayward knocks down the winner.
There you go. I knew Bodie would be excited digging that one up. And then turning 34 today. It's amazing that they're born on the same day. Current Mavs guard, 9-time All-Star, will best be remembered with the Cleveland Cavaliers and the shot that he hit, Mr. Kyrie Irving.
Each team has a foul to give as we come up on a minute remaining. And they're putting Curry in the pick and roll, trying to get him on Irving. Irving and Curry, one-on-one. Irving puts it up. It's good! Kyrie Irving from downtown! And the Cavaliers by 3. Final seconds. It's over! It's over! Cleveland is a city of champions once again. The Cavaliers are NBA champions.
The City of Champions.
Once again.
Once again. It's only been about 60 years to be able to get that done. And then passing away, famed economist Friedrich Hayek wrote Road to Serfdom in 1992. And Elizabeth Taylor passing away on this date, 2011. Some holidays and observances today. Ooh, it's Cuddly Kitten Day. How about that? National Chai Day, Chip and Dip Day, National Puppy Day, traditionally observed, yeah, and World Meteorological Day.
Weather.
The weather, if you will. And those are your historical.
Weather Impact Alert Day?
Well, last night.
Was last night.
It went from great to crazy.
Yeah.
And then this morning I woke up and
cold.
I didn't like that.
Sounds like marriage life.
Didn't need to see that.
Started off great, went crazy, and woke up cold.
That might be one of your better ones, Thitoff. I'm going to be honest with you. But those historical events, your birthdays, your passings, your holidays, observances for this date, Monday, March 23rd, the 82nd day of the year, 283 days remaining this 2026.
86, Jess Biller's number. My buddy in high school, we played freshman football. We both had the number 86 at the same time. Shows you how important we were to the Brookhaven Bearcats freshman football team, that we played the same position and wore the same number. Coming up next, Bill Bender joins us with Sporting News. We'll talk all things NCAA hoops. Morning Juice.
Hey, folks, it's Austin Ward here.
And it's Berm from the Austin and Berm Show.
Berm and I have both done Awaken 180, which honestly should tell people something right there.
Right. It tells you that if it can work for you and me, it can work for anybody.
Because neither one of us has exactly been out here living or were living like a fitness influencer.
No, not unless unless you count fitness fast food tacos in my mouth.
You treated fast food like it was a love language.
I loved it, and I still do.
And look, that's fair, but that's also why Awaken 180 works for people listening right now. You don't have to be perfect. You don't even have to know what you're doing.
No, what you need is a plan. You need someone to help bring you along, and Awaken 180 does that. They tell you what to eat, when to eat, and how to make it fit your life.
I lost 50 pounds with Awaken 180, then another 5 in free maintenance.
For me, it was 35. I'm in maintenance, and I'm under 200 pounds for the first time in 25 years.
This isn't just for some tiny group of people who already have it all figured out.
Nope, it works for real people with busy lives who are on the go just like us.
You know, if you're just tired of carrying that weight around, do what we did. It sounds like a lot of people out there can do exactly what Awaken 180 did for us.
Yeah, go to awaken180weightloss.com now.
James Laurinaitis here for my guys at Green & Sons, the premier Kubota dealership in Central Ohio. Green & Sons has all the Kubotas you need to tackle your land and come out a winner. They have zero-turn, skid steers, tractors from 18 to 171 horsepower, and also utility vehicles. My favorite is my RTV Sidekick. The best thing about Green & Sons is they've been family-owned and operated since 1970, and you will love dealing with the Green family and their winning team. Do what I did and check out Green & Sons located in Mount Sterling and Marysville or online at greenandsons.com for all your Kubota needs.
Enough already.
We can do more.
Enough already. We can find a cure.
Enough already.
We can do better for our kids.
Enough already. We are relying on you.
We can come together to support Children's Cancer Research Fund, a national nonprofit dedicated to ending childhood cancer that is on the front line of breakthroughs. Because
it's enough already.
Go to childrenscancer.org today.
You know what hope is? Hope is action. Carving a path forward, even when it's hard.
And kids who still know how to dream. They're the best pathfinders of all.
So at Child Fund, hope means helping millions of children living in poverty worldwide to grow up healthy, educated, skilled, and so all those good things can come true for them. Safe.
And that means safe at home, safe at school, and safe online.
Hope means walking this path together. All of us. Because when we work together, we can do so much more.
That's right. Hope includes you.
Child Fund, because we need each other.
To learn how Child Fund works with children in 23 countries to help them achieve their full potential, visit childfund.org. That's childfund.org.
One man is a national champion, NFL veteran, and local business leader. The other man is Tito. This is Morning Juice.
Sponsored by Riverside Bank of Dublin.
Here's Bobby and Tito.
Morning Juice. A little depressing day, Bob.
Why's that?
Only 16 teams left. I love.
That's how it works after
I know.
4 days.
I know. I have said, and I know it's not possible, but I would like them to find a way to have 64 teams still in the tournament this upcoming week so we can have all games Thursday and Friday again. I know it's not mathematically possible unless we had everybody in. One guy we do want to add in now to the show, though, the Sporting News, Bill Bender. Bill, good morning. What was your biggest surprise? Was the Florida loss the biggest surprise to you of the weekend? Was a high point over Wisconsin? What the first couple rounds here? What stood out to you the most?
Well, I mean, just the Big Ten Big Ten dominance at large. 13-3 in the first weekend, 6 Sweet 16 teams. Now, you would expect Purdue, Michigan State to get through, Illinois. But Iowa and Nebraska, a game we're used to watching on Thanksgiving before, Ohio State, Michigan, they're going to play for an Elite Eight berth. That's probably the biggest surprise to me.
Do you think, and I know a lot's been made of the lack of mid-majors making it through and, High Point having some success early, just the lack of upsets, and people start talking about lower round seeds. I mean, I don't know if Texas you could define as, a true underdog, Bill, with the amount of resources they have and the size of the program that they possess, but just the lack of those Cinderellas really moving forward. I know VCU, they were right on the cusp of, rimmed in and out, but do you think that this is just a one-off, or do you think that this is going to be a trend?
No, this is the way it's going to be. I mean, 26-9 for the Big Ten and the SEC in the first 2 rounds. Texas, you mentioned, for the third straight year, the double-digit seed that gets to the second weekend, it's been NC State and Arkansas and Texas. Those aren't sleepers, by the definition that we want it to be, with teams like High Point, who had an incredible first round game. But it's just the way it's going to be. I mean, when you have NIL, I kind of made the joke yesterday, you get what you pay for. Well, this is what we're paying for: players and rosters and the power conferences doing all that. I mean, even the ACC, Bobby, they have one team in the Sweet 16, and it's Duke. So it's not like, that's one of those programs that is just up and coming in the ACC. They've been around for a while.
Bill Bender, Sporting News, joins us here on Morning Juice. You mentioned one team in the ACC. Another team in the ACC may be looking for a new head coach soon. There's talk that Hubert Davis is in discussions with North Carolina about how to handle what they're going to be going forward, if they're going to be partners at all. But it looks like they might not be, based on reports. Do you think that's justified?
Well, I mean, that's the program. I was talking this through with Mike DeCourcy, our basketball writer, and, other than Kentucky, I think North Carolina is probably the second hardest job in college basketball. It'd be kind of like in college football, if Kentucky's the Ohio State job, and then, a job like North Carolina is probably like an Alabama or a Notre Dame. You're expected to win all the time. And I think one of the cultural questions they're facing is, they haven't hired a non-Dean Smith guy that wasn't an assistant or a player since Dean Smith retired. Roy Williams, Doherty, Guthridge, Hubert. So are they finally going to go outside the family, so to speak? That's going to be the big question. And if you look at the candidates that have North Carolina ties, it's not very good, Tito. It's not names that are any different than Hubert Davis, in my opinion. So, maybe you go another year there. Doesn't sound like they will. If they don't, I think you're looking at guys like Vanderbilt's Mark Byington and candidates like that, that maybe aren't proven. And that's, like I said, I lived down there for a while. They are very picky about who they're going to hire.
Were you there when Doherty was announced?
No, I was there. I was down in Charlotte, which is close enough,
right?
Because you heard about North Carolina basketball every day. It was during the Roy Williams era. Okay. I was in college when Ohio University beat Matt Doherty and North Carolina in Chapel Hill, which, that told you where the program was at the time, with all due respect to my alma mater.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable that that's the case. And like you talked about, going outside the family, I know there've been resistance to that and people don't want to do it, but if it's a function of, at some point you've got to win. And so talking about the ACC, their struggles, and how some of the, it's on one of the broadcasts of the games, how some of the I want to call them the bigger brands who maybe have struggled a little bit in the last 5 to 7 years. Syracuse being one, them hiring Jerry McNamara, who was at Siena, who made a tournament. Within the family, it seems like if there's ever a way to restore Syracuse basketball to what we knew it for 20 years under Boeheim, that would be the logical hire.
Yeah, and the way Siena fought, he didn't even use the bench, and they had Duke down by double digits. I think it's exactly what they need. It reminds me a little bit of what Louisville is. That's another program that hasn't traditionally been what they were, and now Pat Kelsey is trying to change that. So maybe Jerry McNamara can do the same at Syracuse. But again, you look at, we always do this with the records by conference. I tracked that over the weekend. The ACC was 5-7, Big 12 was 9-5, and of course the Big East gets 2 teams through, but it's the 2 teams we expected. It was a huge weekend for UConn and St. John's, and now this is the good part of not having Cinderella in this round. Is you look at the Sweet 16, you've got matchups like Duke, St. John's, and Illinois, Houston, and Alabama, Michigan, and it's a really cool weekend that we're going to see over the next 4 days with these heavyweight matchups that are going to materialize.
After 4 days of basketball, has any team really changed your perception of them, or are your favorites still the ones you've had advancing to the Final Four? Are they still the ones you think will be in the Final Four? Obviously, as you pointed out, Florida.
Well, I picked Illinois into the Final Four, and I feel a lot better about that after watching them in the first 2 games. Now, can they go beat Houston? I think the winner of that game is going to go to the Final Four. and beat either Iowa or Nebraska. So feel about the same about Michigan and Arizona. I think both of those teams looked good over the weekend. But that Alabama-Michigan game, Alabama played well. And then the other team I'd watch, we've learned again that you can trust Rick Pitino and you can trust John Calipari. Both of them getting back to the Sweet 16. And if you're a Kentucky fan watching that after the Wildcats are bounced in the second round, you're asking the same old questions that they're probably going to be asking on Lexington radio this morning.
Where are you putting oh my goodness, Tom Izzo of Michigan State, Bill, when it's all said and done for him? The guy's 71 years old. He's about as consistent as making it to the second round as anyone you're going to find. He's got the one championship, and I don't know if they have enough gas to be able to get that done this year. But where are you at with his legacy of where he's at in the pantheon of coaches in Big Ten and then national history?
Well, I mean, he is, enjoy him while you still can. And that's exactly how I feel about, this region with Hurley, Pitino. Shire's probably in that class of one of the best coaches, if not the best coach without a national title. So there was a game earlier this year where I was watching Michigan State, and Izzo was, kind of hunched over down in the stance and doing things that he's been doing since they've won the national title in 2000. And at 71 years old, I think I said to my son at the point, I was like, at what point does he retire? He's still doing this with the same intensity and passion and all of those things. And, if there was something I would say about not just Michigan State, but the entire Big Ten for the rest of the tournament, it's time for them to end this 26-year drought. This is the best chance to do it. You've got 37% of the field left. I think that's accurate, 37.5%. But, it's time for the Big Ten to go get a national title here. Then you would sweep football and basketball. And again, we could attribute that to NIL, super conferences, realignment, whatever. But this is their best opportunity to do it. And Michigan State's one of those teams that could.
Last season we saw Rutgers jump up and had two of the top, 5 picks in the NBA draft, although their team didn't show that on the floor last season. But they went back to reality this season with their team. Is Nebraska a team you think that can have sustained success? I know that at a very high level right now, obviously first two wins in school history in the NCAA tournament, and they're a 4 seed. Is this a peak for them, or is this just kind of a start of something great at Nebraska?
Well, I think it's like I said, them playing Iowa, those two programs do the same things. I'm actually looking at Iowa that way. Maybe they take the next step with the coach and the way that they've built the program. These two are very similar. They move the ball well. They shoot threes well. Whether it's Sanford or Sturts, you've got guys that can take over a game. And they're fun to watch because they move the ball and make the extra pass. So maybe, it's taken a while for Fred Hoiberg to get to this point, but I think they could be a tournament regular. And, this will be a big accomplishment for either one of those programs that was able to pull those upsets at the expense of the SEC over the weekend.
Gosh, it's just, it's so amazing. We always would judge the Big Ten, like the conferences on bowl season, and then the bowls, kind of became a little bit irrelevant just with, players opting out. Are we judging conferences? Do we judge them correctly, Bill, based on how they do in this tournament? Or is it more matchup driven? And because, the Big 12 obviously had a pretty nice consolidation near the top 10, but it felt like the Big Ten maybe had the best depth this year. Is that justified now in saying what we've seen out of the first weekend?
I think so, but it's kind of like college football. If I ask you guys what was the ACC's bowl record last year, or what was the Big Ten's bowl record, we tend to forget that. It's always ultimately weighed in national titles. We all know that the Big Ten's won the last 3 national titles in football. Everybody knows that. At least around here they do. In the SEC, they were real big when they had that streak in football. So for me, it really does come down to that drought and ending that drought. You've had 4 of the programs that are playing this week for the Big Ten, Purdue, Michigan State, Illinois, have played in national championship games during that drought. So I think that's the thing hanging over the conference. And, if there was one team I had to pick to win it over the next couple weeks, it would probably be Arizona. But I know how that goes, because every time they look like the can't-miss team, something goes wrong with them, and they haven't won a national title since 1997.
Bill, there's that meme that's a famous meme of like three Spider-Mans pointing at each other, and the mid-majors are pointing at the power schools saying, hey, they won't schedule us. The power schools are pointing it back in the mid-majors. Is somebody right? Is somebody wrong in this, or is this just the way of the world in college basketball?
Well, I think it's just the way of the world. I mean, Matt Painter, obviously, there was some pointed comments there, back and forth between them and the High Point. But who wouldn't schedule High Point? I think there's plenty of, like Painter had a good point, about the MAC schools and scheduling, Akron and Toledo. And I'm sure they'll schedule Miami. I think we see this in football all the time where, teams will say, oh, they won't schedule us. And we know that's not necessarily true. I think in certain spots you don't want to go down to places, and maybe it's harder to get a home and home, but that is the way of the world in college basketball. And Cinderella is going to face an uphill battle with each passing year, and I think that's been proven the last 3 years. That's why I think the first round upsets you've really got to enjoy. And High Point, that was a really cool moment. I mean, you got a guy shooting 3-pointers before he even catches the ball. It was an incredible upset by them, the Panthers.
Where do you put the Iowa end-of-game shot in your pantheon of great plays that you've seen in the NCAA tournament?
Well, I thought the Kentucky 3-pointer was the best one of the weekend because it was bang, bang, right? Like Santa Clara comes down, takes the lead. Owe throws it up. It banks in. And there were a lot of those this weekend. Incredible high-level shot making in clutch situations, whether it was Iowa, the Nebraska finish, which we talked about, and then that Kentucky game. I mean, there was a lot of cool moments like that. It was an exciting first weekend. I'm probably going to need a nap early this afternoon. I don't know how long that's going to sustain, and that's a good thing. That means it was worth staying up late for each night to watch some of these great games.
Speaking of that, do you enjoy how they staggered that on Sunday? Just, single games in the early windows and then stacking up the primetime slate with 9:45 starts. So there's multiple games going on at one time when, it seems like you may just be ready to go to bed on Sunday evening after a whole weekend of it.
I mean, for me yesterday, it definitely worked out better because I had to run to a dance recital and run to, all the things that I'm doing over the weekend. It would probably be better from a TV standpoint to maybe have a couple games earlier and maybe one standalone like they did last night with Alabama after the UConn-UCLA game. And again, UConn, another team that looked pretty good this weekend. You have a player get 30 and 20 in a game, and then Alex Caravan plays really well last night. So that team's very dangerous as well. And again, of all of the games that we have coming this weekend, it looks like they schedule them. They put the big game early, typically on Thursday and Friday. St. John's Duke will be an awesome game, and I didn't realize, I saw a stat last night. I probably should have verified this before coming on the air. We'll have Bodie check it maybe. Duke has beat St. John's every time they've won the title in the tournament. Is that true? So I'm going to have to look that up and confirm, but that'll be a heavyweight game between those two teams. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Just to clarify, Bill, before we get you out of here, when you say dance recital, it's a children's dance recital, not one that you're participating in. Is that correct?
Yeah, right. Okay, no, my daughter, dance class is definitely my daughter.
Okay.
Dance recital. So not me. Okay. Maybe some other time for me.
Well, if you're going to do it, let us know, because I'm sure that some of the listeners like to come out and check that out. So Twinkle Toes, Bill Bender joined us here. We appreciate that. Thank you so much, and we will talk again next week.
I'll talk to you guys then. I appreciate it. Thanks so much.
That was Bill Bender from the Sporting News. Did you look that up, Bodie, by chance or not?
Gonna need a minute here, but
take your minute. That's fine. We got a break coming up anyway. Coming up next, we're gonna make Bodie work even more. Quick hitters, Morning Juice.
Bobby Carpenter here with the Riverside Bank of Dublin Sports Money Report. In football, every decision is about the long game. From multi-year contracts to salary caps and stadium investments, winning franchises don't chase quick wins. They're built for the future through depth, planning, discipline, and smart financial management. That same philosophy matters in banking. Here's Chuck Moore and CEO Travis Sanders, president of Riverside Bank of Dublin, on how they prioritize the long game.
Thanks, Bobby. At Riverside Bank of Dublin, we work closely with local businesses and families to create financial strategies that hold up season after season. Whether it's business lending, cash management, or long-term planning, Riverside Bank focuses on fundamentals and relationships.
That's right, Chuck. Just like football, it's about preparation, execution, and having the right partner behind you. Riverside Bank of Dublin. Community-focused, relationship-driven, and built for the long run. Look for our new branch location in Bridge Park in Dublin.
Tune in every day for the Riverside Bank of Dublin Sports Money Report. Visit their office at 6300 France Road in Dublin or online at riverside.bank.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Around the world, Children International and friends like you are giving children in poverty a chance to grow and thrive, to be healthy, to succeed in school, and achieve great things. How do we do it? In the best way possible, by helping ensure access to healthcare, nutrition, and educational opportunities. And most importantly, by empowering youths and their families to get out of poverty and into employment through life skills, computer, and job training. The very tools they need to break the cycle of poverty and build futures full of promise. Because every child deserves a chance to realize their full and best potential. Learn more about how Children International is empowering children and families by going to children.org today. That's children.org.
While serving in Vietnam, a grenade took my ability to see. Today, I'm a sculptor. Now, my fingers are my eyes. I'm Michael Naranjo. As a veteran, I know the challenges of life can be great. In my art, turning a lump of clay into something beautiful, that is worth doing. Life is like that. We each must use what we can to make things better.
DAV helps veterans like Michael get the benefits they've earned. They help more than 1 million veterans every year in life-changing ways.
Now, I show others how they can create something with their own hands. I know it can do a lot of good. With support from DAV, more veterans can shape their lives into a thing of beauty. My victory is bringing beauty into the world.
Michael Naranjo, may your victories inspire many more. Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
Tito has had 2 wives. They've both been named Heather. If you know someone named Heather, please warn her. This is Morning Juice.
Morning Juice. Tito, Bobby Bodie. Thank you, Bill Bender, for joining us there. Taking time out of his dance preparation to speak with us about college hoops. And now, Bodie's Hoops Quick Hitters. If I get the button, which I did.
Morning Juice presents Quick Hitters.
All right. We have varying sources on this one.
All right.
Because when you go to Duke's website, all-time matchups, they have them, the Blue Devils themselves, as 16-6 against St. John's. 4 out of the 5 years they won the national championship, they do have a win over the Johnnies. But when you go to St. John's website, they have themselves as 7-17, and they have all 5 years as a loss against Duke in the year that the Blue Devils won the title. The one that's kind of differential here, Saturday, December 5th at Cameron Indoor, Duke beat St. John's 80-71. That is on St. John's website, but on Duke's website, it's not on there. So I don't really know. I don't know if that was a vacated win situation.
Cameron, it wouldn't be a NCAA game, I wouldn't think.
Oh, most of them were.
They weren't.
Beat them in the
season.
I think it was just beat them in the season.
I was going to say in the tournament.
That would have been,
At first, I started thinking of the tournament. I'm like, that's just tough to get a matchup like that with 64 teams, and you only play, 6 games to win it all. So in one of your other 5, because they've never played them for a championship, I'm like, that would be a lot of luck on just them winning and you winning.
So, yeah. Well,
there we go.
Don't know if Duke or St. We'll reach out to the SIDs and get that one locked down. Speaking of college basketball, guys, one of the best coaching jobs in the sport, and frankly in all of sports, could be opening up, as we talked about there with Bill Bender. Following their first-round loss to VCU on Thursday night, North Carolina officials are in discussions with their head coach, Hubert Davis, about his future at the school, and a decision could come here in the next handful of days. The former Tar Heel player he's experienced the highest of highs and the lowest of lows, basically, in his 5 seasons down there in Chapel Hill. And up and down first season saw his team beat Coach K in his final game there at Cameron Indoor, and then in his final game ever at Duke in the Final Four. And then they eventually, though, the Tar Heels, that is, blew a 15-point lead against Kansas in the national championship game the following year. In year 2,
that doesn't feel good at all.
No, it does not. Year 2 for Hubert Davis there. They entered the season as the number 1 preseason team, and they missed the tournament. They were the first team to ever enter the year at number 1 and then missed the big dance. Year 3, he was named ACC Coach of the Year, but his top-seeded Tar Heels were bounced in the Sweet 16. As we know down there, that is underachieving by a wide stretch. And then each of the last 2 years, they were bounced in the first round, most recently blowing a 19-point lead on Thursday this past week here against VCU. Carpets, as we talked about with Bender there, it seems like it's probably time to go outside of the family, outside of the Carolina family. And I guess we'll see if they try to grab maybe the highest mid-major kind of coach, or if they're able to pluck maybe another powerful or
bring Shire over from Duke.
I did see Brad Stevens' name floated, which I always really appreciate anytime Indiana, Duke, Carolina open up. It's like, well, we could just call Brad Stevens. You're like, yeah, he's running the Celtics, but he might.
I don't think he
Chapel
wants
Hill.
to coach anymore.
No, that's exactly.
He
why
didn't get
stopped
fired from the Celtics for coaching. He was just
Yes.
basically like, I'm going to just run this. It's a little less stressful and a little easier. I don't know where they'll go with this. And it's funny because you felt like his job was getting safer towards the end of the season. You know, they had an injury. What's his name? Caleb Wilson hurt his hand, hurt his other hand after his one hand was hurt. And you're thinking, okay, that gives him a little cover. And you felt like if they just made it to the Sweet 16, this conversation wouldn't be happening. And then you don't make it out of that first weekend.
How about bounced in the first
round? You couldn't even get to the
second. 19-point lead.
Yes, I think if you probably win the first game, it's probably a little less. And then also when you have those big leads that evaporate, because when you have those big leads in games, I was watching that game on Thursday night. And the power went out at our condo down in St. Thomas. It was 73-75. It was right after the 5-second call that North Carolina had under their own basket. And I'm thinking, it's like 30 seconds. I'm like, well, we'll see what happens. I remember sitting there waiting, trying to get it on. Nothing's coming back. Internet down there was spotty. Our Wi-Fi was out because the power was out. And I woke up that night at like 3 in the morning. I was like, you know what? Let me just see how that game turned out. I was like, son of a gun. They got them and they got it to overtime. And it felt like if they just win that one, this probably isn't a conversation. But when you get in and you get bounced, and then you juxtapose that with like how good, and believe it, not that Duke's been perfect in the tournament, but they're at least moving on.
Yeah.
And you feel like it's a better situation. So that, and you're always kind of compared against your big rival. And Duke, it feels like with Shire's in a much better situation right now, and it's going to probably come out on the head coaching position.
So Hubert Davis in his 5 years there now, he was the run-up to the championship game, and they blew that 15-point lead. We talked about that his first season.
It seems like it was a decade ago.
And then in his second year, they declined an NIT invite. Third year, Sweet 16, and then getting bounced in the first round each of the last 2 years. I know that Bill talked about going outside the family, but, okay, since Dean Smith stepped down in 1997, they've hired 4 head coaches. All 4, yes, ties to North Carolina. Bill Guthridge, the first one, actually did really well there.
But he was on staff at that point. They just promoted him.
He went 3 years there.
He was good.
Made 2 Final Fours.
Yeah.
And then stepped down after that. Then
he was really old. I mean,
he was old, yes.
He's almost as old as Dean.
Then they brought in Doherty. And
he was awesome.
Well,
that year when they went 8-21, that felt pretty good.
Well, even though Doherty
I was on my visit during, I think, that season.
Vibes are high.
They were playing Sunday night. The guys were out
now,
Saturday night before the game. Like, I saw them out like drinking and partying. It was like 1 in the morning. I'm like, he's got a game tomorrow. Yeah, that's fine. I forget who they were playing. They lost.
Doherty was at Notre Dame for 1 year before North Carolina went and hired him. And even though he's from the family, Bob, he did not behave as a North Carolina guy.
What does that mean?
What I mean by that is when he came in, part of his deal was, I'm bringing my Notre Dame guys here. And so they got rid of a bunch of like Phil Ford, who was a North Carolina legend. They got rid of North Carolina guys that were on staff, both Dean and Guthridge. But he came in and...
You got to think, though, those guys had been pretty old if they were there with Dean and Guthridge. Like,
well, Phil Ford played for Dean and then and then coach and played the NBA briefly.
Let me let you in
Yeah.
a little secret. Just because all guys played for the same coach doesn't mean they all get along.
I totally
And there
get
may
it.
have been some, not that I'm breaking any news on this,
No.
there may have been some internal strife.
Bob, absolutely,
friction
yes.
back and forth.
Guys, Phil Ford might have wanted the North Carolina job for all I know. All I'm saying is, though, he ruffled a lot of feathers when he came in and did that. And North Carolina fans were pissed off about it, that he came in and cleaned house completely.
It's okay. He won him over.
And then he had a good first year. They made it the second round. He went to 26-7, I believe, that season. Then, the worst year you mentioned, 8-20.
Yeah, that's
and
beautiful.
then
Could you imagine Ohio State football going? And that's equivalent, that's like 4-8, man. 8-20 at North Carolina.
Tell you what we're gonna do if Ohio State goes 4-8 this fall, Bob.
I mean,
you remember January 6th?
Yeah,
we're gonna storm the shoe.
His final year, 19-16, and then there was more fighting within. Carolina's big wigs thought that they were losing respect, and that players didn't like Doherty, didn't trust Doherty, and all these things. And that's why he left. So I mean,
players getting drunk the night before games.
That's apparently that too. That's breaking news on that one. But
I was there to witness that. Maybe Maybe we should. Arthur Smith was there during that time. Maybe we should ask him. He was playing at North Carolina
was he
football
really that
team.
time?
Yeah.
Okay, we can.
I went to his house and played beer pong. And he brought that up on my visit.
You and Arthur Smith played beer pong?
I was at his house. I don't know if we actually went head to head in the matchup.
Do you remember playing anybody? Do you remember anybody you played against in that matchup, in that party?
Not particularly, no.
How old were you?
Senior in high school.
Okay.
That's fine.
I don't want to vacate wins, Bob.
Vacate wins.
Anyway, no, but what I'm saying, though, Bob, is that, the other... I mean, Roy Williams is a slam dunk hire. Guthridge did good.
That's the thing, and I don't mean to cut you off,
No.
but not every in the family hire.
Was Roy a slam dunk? He was really good at Kansas, but never won a title.
But he took him to the Final Four.
He won
His last 2 years, they went to the Final Four.
At North Carolina, he did.
That's what I mean. Yes, he ended up being a slam dunk hire for North Carolina, is what I'm saying. He ended up working out very well for North Carolina, staying within the family.
When they brought him in, there was the conversation of will he get them back to? He's obviously going to make sure they're good.
Right.
But will they ever win a title? Because he was the guy that couldn't win the big game. But then they did in 05 with May. I mean, he got it turned around pretty quickly.
Yeah, and it was originally when they hired Guthridge, the original thought was that Guthridge is short term because they're waiting out Roy Williams.
Yeah, and didn't he turn it down the first time?
He did turn him down. Yes, he did turn him down the first time, and then after the Doherty thing, he decided to come here. Yeah, but I'm saying out of the four hires,
well, because he had to make sure they lowered expectations enough. He let Doherty, Doherty come in there, fall on the sword. 8-20, I can beat that. We can go 20-8 if that's all you need. I'll flip that in a second.
But you've hired 4 coaches since 1997. Roy Williams was great. Guthridge was great. Davis is okay. Doherty was a disaster. So it's not like it's been a total abject failure of staying within the family on hiring coaches. So, but to Bender's point, there might be out there
Maybe
worthy
they
of
need
it.
to bring in Brian Kelly. He can be part of their family.
What about Michael Jordan? He's free. Right?
Jordan,
He's got some
right?
time.
We know what he could do. Yes,
I think too. Building off of your point about not only has Duke done better than Carolina, Carp, and Shire there, but they also were hired at the exact same time.
Yes.
I think a year apart. And look, man, that's
that's what it is.
It's a big deal when that rivalry is as big as any in sports, and you keep watching. And it's kind of weird how I think we've talked about this before on the show. Isn't Vince Carter their last NBA All-Star or something like that?
That might be right.
Which is just now, granted, they've won titles in between now and then, so that's not.
But
the
they used to
end-all,
crank
be-all.
out.
But the way Duke every year is okay, who are the 2 lottery picks, if not 3, 4 first rounders?
By the way, one of their birthdays was today.
Which one?
Kyrie.
Oh yeah,
that's right.
Yeah,
yes.
he
you're
played
right, yes.
all 9 games
Duke,
as a Blue Devil.
He got
there.
hurt.
But it is. It's they have
with the heart.
once they. You're damn right it is. I want you to be a basketball player.
Right.
And Kyrie looked at Coach K. He's like, "What does government mean to you?" But basically, ever since Coach K, which is pretty
That's amazing.
hilarious
You nailed
because
it.
I'm pretty sure Coach K used to be the whole this one and done things wrong, and then he started landing guys like Kyrie. He's like, you know what? Actually, this thing's pretty awesome. But yeah, Carolina. I mean, how many big they still, I imagine, recruit well every year, and it's not. Yeah, they really were good under Roy at the end there, And it's not like Davis has been a disaster by any stretch.
No, he's been a disaster, no.
They've only missed the tournament once. They played in a title game, made the Sweet 16. I understand expectations there.
I feel like missing the tournament at North Carolina, though.
That's pretty big.
That's
3 years ago.
I get it, but that's like going 8-4 at Ohio State in football.
That's fair. But if they went 8-4 and Ohio State won the title and Carolina lost it, which I realize is a massive difference, but I don't know.
If he had the national championship banner, he's safe.
Oh, for sure.
I would think so, yeah.
That is
For sure.
like a cloaking blanket that gives you a lot of cover.
Well, like you said, if they don't blow it leading to VCU, he's safe. I think he's still safe there.
Yeah, but not
as safe.
Maybe like for another year.
Kentucky safe.
That championship in year one, which like would have been unbelievable because he beat Coach K twice.
Yeah.
In his last game at Cameron Indoor and then in the Final Four. And it was like, oh my God,
So-
like here we go again.
This is the stat. The last All-Star game to feature a North Carolina player. There was two of them, actually. Antoine Jamison and Vince Carter. And Jamison I believe a year ahead.
I think Jameson and Carter were the same draft. Or which one was Wallace? Wallace was with...
Wallace, Jamison, Stackhouse, and Carter were all like over a 4-year period. And two of them each came out together.
I think Stack came out with Sheed. I think Jameson came out with Carter.
So they both played together. Do you want to take a guess how many years it's been since that All-Star game?
Okay. I'm going to guess...
22.
I'm going to guess 2009.
It was 1997 and 98.
Oh, wow.
It's been nearly 30 years.
What? And
Says-
even right now, though, like maybe I'm blanking or whatever, but I'm not sure. Like,
Well, no, I guess that was the 97-98 team, so it would have been 30 years since those guys were drafted.
Okay, yeah.
Is what that was.
Yeah.
So, but the All-Star game was
later,
probably
yeah.
2000.
In the 2000s,
Yeah,
yeah.
Rashid made it in 08.
Oh, wait, okay.
Okay, still though, that's almost 20 years.
Yeah.
And right now, if I asked you guys, like, hey, best Duke player in the NBA, takes about 2 seconds to be like, wow, Jason Tatum.
Right.
Cooper Flagg just went. Zion wasn't a hit, but he was the number 1 overall pick. Kentucky's, I don't know how Calipari didn't win more there with all the guys he's put in there. But if I asked you right now, like, best Carolina player in the league, like, I honestly don't know. Now, maybe I'm just completely blanking on somebody, but
Tyler Hansborough.
Yeah, exactly.
Come back,
time he had
look,
the bloody nose.
Try to find a white guy that Boston drafted from Carolina. Probably what you're looking at there. So they've hired 4 coaches since Dean Smith. Duke's had 4 coaches since 3 hired head coaches since 1974. They had Bill Foster from 74 to 80. He was really good there. And then you had Coach K, and then you got Shire now. Michigan State's had 2 since 1976. What else? Purdue has had 2 since 1980.
Jeez.
Like, those
Gosh,
are the ones.
Painter's been there
Painter's been there since 05.
Did he take over for Katie?
Yeah.
It's just been him. I was trying to think. I was like, was there someone else for a couple years in there? He's done
Katie's
a great
always
job.
at the games. He's always
Well,
they'll
because
show
he's
him on the
retired now.
broadcast.
How
Yeah.
Gene Katie's got to be 90 years old.
Oh, yeah. He's like Lou Carnesecco, who's dead now. Kansas, by the way, 3 coaches since 1983. Like, those are the schools that you look at.
And Bill Self, did you guys see his
Said he
comments
might
after the
retire.
game?
Yeah,
So,
he's
like,
not
could
sure.
you imagine like Carolina and Kansas coming open in the same year? Like, that would be unbelievable.
It's not out of the realm of possibility. Kentucky opens up too.
Yeah,
You know, like
they're another one that expectations are not to lose in the second round.
Well, and the guy that they just let walk away is in the Sweet
He's still
16.
playing.
And made some like backhanded comments about administrations win
Oh,
titles.
yeah.
I mean, it
Listen.
was. So I saw a great tweet, and it was. Gosh, was it? Ben. I'm trying to think who put it out there. I think it might have been Ben Stevens, who works at Sports Grid. He goes, I feel like John Calipari practices those lines in the mirror and then winks to himself afterwards and walks away.
Him meeting St. John's and Patino. I don't think they could play until the title game, but
that'd be fun.
That would be fun.
Yes. They could both come out wearing Kentucky jerseys. Coming up next, someone who tugged on Superman's cape backed it up this weekend. We'll talk about that next. Morning Juice.
The madness is on and the deals are going full court at Germain Toyota of Columbus. Drive home the Powerhouse 2026 Tundra at 2.99% APR for up to 72 months and $1,000 Toyota financial cash. That's a slam dunk offer. Or you can drive home in the always reliable 2026 Camry LE for just $269 a month for 36 months, 10,000 miles a year, and $36.99 due at signing. Don't sit on the sidelines. Hustle into Germain Toyota of Columbus on the corner of I-70 and Bryce Road or online at germaintoyota.net.
I slept in a lot of different rooms, different beds,
but none of them really felt like mine. I spent 14 years in foster care, mostly in group homes. And I never had much left because I always had to be ready to move. Why get things if you just have to let them go?
There are more than 100,000 children in foster care waiting to be adopted. The Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption is working to help find them a forever family and a permanent home of their own.
Now I have my own room with walls that tell my story. I love hanging out in here. I play dress up with my sisters and I sing and make videos. But the best part, knowing I'll always have a place to go and a family that loves and supports me.
If you have room in your home or your heart, see how you can help at davethomasfoundation.org.
Wrinkles, gray hair, and hearing loss are common signs of getting older. But being short of breath, having tightness in your chest, coughing, and wheezing are not. If you are experiencing these symptoms, you may be one of the millions of people who are living with a condition called COPD but don't know it. Early diagnosis and treatment can add years of better breathing to your life. For more information, talk to your doctor and visit copdfoundation.org today.
Proud to be your go-to sports addiction.
WBNS, WBNS-FM, HD3 Columbus.
The Fan 3, Ohio sports destination. One man is a national champion, NFL veteran, and local business leader. The other man is Tito. This is Morning Juice.
Sponsored by Riverside Bank of Dublin.
Here's Bobby and Tito.
Indeed, we are Morning Juice. Indeed, we are sponsored by Riverside Bank in Dublin. Bobby, I don't know if you saw this over the weekend. And they had the flag football. What did they call it?
That was amazing, honestly. Talking about things that have been disappointing in life. I don't know if that was ever in the selection set that could happen.
You were disappointed.
It's kind of stunned, to tell you the truth.
It's the Fanatics Flag Football Classic in BMO Stadium in Los Angeles. That's where the flag football will be taking place in the 2028 LA Games. And you had two teams that are mostly NFL players. And then you had the U.S. national team as constructed right now. And if you remember a while back, Bob, Daryl Doucette, his nickname.
The Deuce?
Hoosh.
Hoosh?
Hoosh is his nickname. Hoosh said that he was a better flag football quarterback than Patrick Mahomes. This was a few months back. He said that.
I do, yeah.
You're going to back it up.
Do you know how big Daryl Doucette is, Bobby?
I'm guessing like 5'8".
He's 5'8", 150 pounds or so.
Yeah.
5 foot nothing.
Yes.
100 nothing.
Seems like a guy that would be it's like a good height for a high school quarterback. Like,
well, he's quarterback and other positions because he wasn't like their main quarterback. But anyway,
you have to play you have to do other stuff.
But somebody else did most of the passing for him. But I'll tell you this: so Team USA ended up playing 3 games against quote unquote professional teams. Now, granted, Jake Paul was out there on one of the teams. Terrence Crawford was out there. Who was the one guy, Bob? Was
Jake Paul.
There's a guy who I guess, just looking at this, he has to be on social media. It's like, was I Speed?
Oh, yeah.
What was his name?
I know
Bob?
that guy. He's
I Show Speed.
Yeah, there you go. He's
lowercase I, like
yeah.
iCarly, Bob. Lowercase I.
It's like He Hate Me?
Yes. I Show Speed and Terrence Crawford won one of the teams. Anyway, Logan Paul played. Also, Brady played.
Quinn?
And the other one did.
Like people are like, Tom's like almost 50.
He went out there and played.
Brady
was 8 of 12 for 85 yards and 2 touchdowns. Brady also caught a pass for 9 yards.
That's scary.
Gronkowski played. Luke Kuechly was in the game as well. So a number of players in there. Anyway, Doucette was named the MVP. They won. So Team USA played 3 games against those 2 teams total, and they outscored them 106-44. Team USA did. The Wildcats, the one team, had Joe Burrow, Jaden Daniels, coached by Kyle Shanahan. The Founders, captained by Tom Brady, coached by Sean Payton. Anyway, Doucette was in the 3 games, was 8 of 8 for 67 yards passing and 3 touchdowns. Ran 6 times for 76 yards and 3 touchdowns, and had 5 catches for 79 yards. So they do that. Boxer, it says in the article I read, Boxer influenced Logan Paul's defensive liability. Shocker there. Committed unsportsmanlike conduct penalty by ripping the sunglasses off of Doucette's head after the American quarterback ran for a touchdown in the opening game. So Paul and Crawford both finished with 0 touches. I show speed rushed 1 time for 10 yards. Gronk caught a 2-point conversion. Luke Kuechly didn't do much. The Team USA quarterback was Nico Caceres, who was 24 out of 27 in the 3 games for 332 yards, 5 touchdowns, and no interceptions. The only player really, like the one who, Burrow, by the way, was 30 of 41 for 196 and 4 touchdowns. I saw him go down 1 time.
I think selfish guy playing out there.
Okay, if Burrow gets hurt, do you think Bengals fans are like, man, I sure am glad he went out there and represented?
I don't think they I don't care what they think.
Okay.
Say will do whatever he wants. Now, listen, if because the organization's done such a good job of protecting him.
Right. Okay, that's fair. That's a good point, Bob. Burrow, you could say that. So Beckham, though, had a really nice one-handed catch. He ended up catching 10 passes, 68 yards, and scored 3 touchdowns. He's trying to get back into the NFL. He's 33 years old now. He hasn't played since December of 2024 for the Dolphins. So here's my question for you then. Part of the reason why I think the NFL players struggled the way they did is just because the intricacies of flag football. Actually pulling flags instead of running through somebody.
Should have Artie out there coaching them up?
Should have Artie or you out there, Bob? That's why I guess.
Well, it's a different spacing.
Yes.
There's different rules. It's not even like 7-on-7. It's different with how you plan it. You don't need to be as tall as a quarterback, running like shallow crossers. There's ways to get guys open and put guys in space and flag that you cannot do in actual football. So, yes, it's fundamentally a different game. I mean, there's a ball and, you're throwing it to each other and you can run it and do some things like that. But there's a lot of other nuances going on that if you're not familiar with it and, you just can't roll out of bed and go do it, you've got to practice and you got to understand what the rules are.
So were you then surprised at all?
No. Dude, Tom Brady, Gronk. You've got freaking Jake Paul out there. Logan are one of them.
No, I understand. You have Burrow, you have Daniels, you've got Antoine Winfield Jr. was out there.
By the way, did you see his fiance save somebody's life over the weekend?
No, she did?
Yeah. Some car accident. She jumped off a bus.
Really?
Yeah. Antoine Winfield's wife?
Her fiance, yeah.
The fiance?
Junior.
Yeah.
So
I didn't see that.
Good for her.
Yeah. That's a hell of a side nugget there, Schlegs, on that one.
I saw it on ESPN.
Anyway, Bob, so do you think it would be, with how good this Team USA team is at flag football, which apparently are good, if they, I know that it's against NFL players and Jake Paul and I show speed. I get that. I don't know if Kevin Hart was out there or not. He's usually in these kinds of things, but I didn't see his name in the box score. Would it be wise, or do you think you will see NFL players train it all for this to try to play in the Olympics for a chance to represent the country?
So it's interesting. I heard the debate happening of is the object to get the best players out there or to have it become to increase the notoriety and popularity of it. And I think you can probably window that and get a lot of both. You want NFL guys out there because you want people to watch it and you want other countries to be excited about it to grow the game. I know Roger Goodell, that's why Joe Burrow is out there. That's why those guys are there. Tom Brady, because it's all about growth of the game. If people start playing flag and they'll watch that, maybe they'll start watching the NFL, I think is the hopes of what they'll be able to do. So I don't know that you need a team composed completely of pros, but having some of those guys out there that are equipped to go out and play pretty well, I think would be a good idea.
So what if you are, I think NBC's got the Olympics coming up as they usually do. If you are NBC, though, are you pushing for more NFL?
Well, that's the point. I'm saying you want more eyeballs, you want more people on there. I mean, I know Roger Goodell wants probably some guys in there, and I'm guessing NBC would as well.
With the numbers, at least from what I've read, Bob, the number of kids playing tackle football is in decline. on a
number of
year-to-year
kids
basis.
playing sports has declined.
That too. That's fair also.
We've just become lazier as a society.
So flag football is a way to.
Cody smirks at that as if it's like.
I'm not denying it, not even remotely.
But so, Bob, the fact that NFL has kids that are football has fewer kids playing tackle football each and every year, and like you said, yes, society, us as a society,
He had lost his appetite.
So, that being said, Bob, flag football seems like a pretty smart way for the NFL to invest its resources because kids who might not want to play tackle, whose parents say you can't play tackle in some cases.
That's why they've done all the heads-up tackle stuff, but then a lot of the NFL play 60 and everything has been surrounded by around flag football to get people engaged in the game. And if you play that when you're young, hopefully you'll play actual, tackle football maybe at some point. But even if you don't, you're going to have an affection for the game that you would not otherwise have.
Which is why I think it would be important if that's their objective, if that's their continued objective, it would be smart to have some high-profile players on the roster.
Well, that's what I was saying. To get people to watch, to get people to tune in. And not even people in America, to get people from across the world to be able to tune in and watch. Why do you think they do all those international games?
Because it's stupid. I understand why they do it, Bob. But I still contend it's bad for the product. It's bad for the competitive balance of the game.
Why is that?
Well, my argument all along, Bob, is what do they play? What is the goal of NFL teams every year?
Make money.
Okay. Then
That's the owners.
Okay. But what I'm saying is
players are to win.
Okay, to win a Super Bowl, to go as far as you can in the season, to win your last game. A big part of that, and you know this from playing in the Horseshoe and playing in Dallas, and home field advantage is a real thing.
Yeah.
You ultimately you want to have home field advantage in the playoffs, or at least host a home playoff game.
What do the numbers say around that?
I don't look at facts, Bob. I go off my gut instinct. No, but okay. But I say numbers, Bob. Even though whatever the numbers are, whatever
it's not as stark as you would think.
I agree. Okay, that would not surprise me at all. We saw it this year when Denver lost home, but they lost their quarterback also. But when you look at it, though, Bob, it's still the goal, right? People play for home field advantage in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Regardless of what the numbers bear out, that's what they're playing for. And it's already an unbalanced schedule where some teams get 9 home games, some teams get 8.
Mm-hmm.
So you already have an advantage if you've got 9 home games.
So what if I told you in a world every team would have 8 home games, then everyone would play an international game?
If it's 8-8 with one international, I'm okay with that, Bob. What I'm not okay with, though, right now is because right now it rotates. Like if I had 9 home games this year, I have 8 home games next year, then 9, then 8. So I'm looking forward to the year with 9. And if you take one away, especially a divisional game, like the Rams and Niners are playing in Australia, if I'm not mistaken, right? Is that the ones that's playing in Australia, Rams and Niners, if I'm not mistaken? I think that one's been, right?
Sure. Sounds right, yeah.
Okay. One of those teams, I don't know who the home team is, one of those teams, though, is losing a home game against a division rival where it might come down to a tiebreaker of head-to-head or divisional record, and you're losing a game. So you might lose a chance at home field advantage because you played in Australia instead of on your home field against the team you're competing with. That's my problem with it, Bob.
I don't think anyone ever said life was fair, though, Thitoff.
Well, then why not have 12 home games and 5 road games?
Because somebody's got to play at home and someone's got to play on the road, so you might as well make it as close to as even as possible. But
make it fair.
The honors is because as close to as even. Fair is not. We don't use that term in our house because nothing is fair.
Fair and even aren't similar?
No. Trying to make it as equal as possible, giving people the same opportunities. We're not going to predetermine outcomes and all that stuff, but you try to make it their objective. They're in the entertainment business,
right?
They think it's good to grow their game and to make. And if you can have a game in a 9:00 window and sell that to someone, then you know what, we're going to do that, and we're going to have it take it to Europe and to South America and to Mexico and to Australia even now. So that's just part of the deal. I think it's fair that some teams play on Thursday nights more and other teams play,
absolutely
prime time games on Sunday and Monday and all this stuff, and they're coming on short weeks. It's just what it is. Everybody knows what you're signing up for now.
When you played in England, was that regular season or preseason?
Regular season.
It was regular season. How much did that? I know we've spoken before about how the food sucked. Other than that, though, how much did that affect your body?
I mean, it was just a game. You
Okay.
fly back.
I didn't know playing.
I was in Boston, so it was a 5-hour flight. It was
Right.
about the same as flying to Seattle, which we
Okay.
did like the week before, 2 weeks before, I think.
Okay. NFL is talking about still adding an 18th game. One of the ideas being floated out there.
They will.
Okay. I agree with you. I think they will. Yep. But one of the ideas being floated out there is that you would require nobody can play more than 17 games. So
No player, yeah. So everybody will have like a secondary off week where they're not playing, which do I have to practice? Do I have to come in during that week? What are you
Right.
asking me to do?
And
by the way, when do you determine who's not playing?
Yes.
Because it's not like you're going to do that and say, well, you're down this week, and then somebody else gets hurt. And
Yeah.
you're like, well, hold on a second. Now we need you in there.
Yeah, you're right. With the gambling purposes, obviously you can't. If you find out, hey, Burrow sits a lot of weeks. If you find out Jalen Hurts is going to sit this week, this is going to be his maintenance week or whatever you want to call it, his load management week, and then your backup quarterback gets hurt. You're right. It's after that, and realize he can't play or gets like the flu. You know what I mean? Some kind of quick thing runs through. What are the repercussions on that going to be? And it's going to cause coaches be very creative and GMs be very creative with how they're going to do this.
Oh, roster construction. You have to expand the roster as well if you're going to
Sure.
do
Well,
that.
yeah, you have to expand the rosters, which the players would probably, I mean, the NFLPA, I'm sure, will go for that. That'd be a great negotiating thing right there. But my question is, I think I heard Zaslow talking about this on ESPN Radio this weekend, but if you're saying to me that 17 games is okay, but 18 is too much, it's a safety issue. We can't have you play 18 because we're worried what the damage will be to your body. But, like, is that what they're saying when they're saying 17? They're just strictly negotiating? Because if you're saying
they're just trying to make it up and give stuff back on the way around and, like, make it look good and win the PR battle. There's no science behind it.
But as a former player, though, do you think the 18th game is...
The 17th game is ridiculous.
You think they're dangerous?
Every game is dangerous.
Okay. How much more dangerous does it make it play an extra game? But it doesn't matter. If it goes to 19, does that change your opinion?
A lot of it depends on your coaches and how you operate during the week and a lot of things they've done. It's not just the game, it's the preparation for it.
Right.
I doubt that there's any type of studies that would show that there's a significantly greater injury risk in the 17th game versus the 16th and probably even the 18th versus the 17th or the 16th. It's not like there's some cliff that we know like, oh, once you hit this, then all of a sudden, boom, injuries jump 20%.
Isn't it funny how much different we treat pitchers in baseball versus football players?
Yeah, because they get blisters and they sit out.
Right. That's even like just like
put some super glue on it. Let's go.
But years ago, though, Bob,
put your gear on.
Pitchers went 9 innings regularly. There were complete game shutouts. Guys threw there was 4-man rotations, and now they are treated with cellophane on their arms. Whereas in football, that hasn't changed yet. You know what I mean? Like, I know the quarterbacks get protected more. They're still out there playing, though. They're not getting, like, load management after playing 3 quarters, like, hey, you know what? Your pitch count.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, like all of a sudden. But football's where it's hit almost every other sport. It hasn't hit the NHL yet, I guess, either. But it's hit basketball, obviously, with load management. And it's hit Major League Baseball. But football has not changed one iota in that regard.
Use words like honor, code, loyalty. I mean, these guys, part of it is you've always been coached to play and you're trying to be tough. And the other thing is, like, you don't have a guaranteed contract. It's not like you have 5 years, $250 million like some of these guys in the NBA that are sitting there. And it's like, yeah, well, he did, and look how much he played.
Right, all right. Coming up next, spring break. That time is over. We'll pick Bobby's brain on what we should be looking for and listening for this week. Also, Tyler Danburg joins us to break down Ohio State-Notre Dame's women's basketball game today. That's next. Morning Juice.
Hey, Max, you look absolutely dashing in that purple tie. Ready to harness the world?
You bet, Daisy. I'm ready as I'll ever be. And might I say, your purple tie really pops with your vest.
Thanks. I almost went with a cape, but didn't want to come across as pretentious.
Nonsense. Anyone in our line of work should rock a cape.
You might be onto something, Max.
Phew, so here we go. First day on the job. We've got this, right?
Right. Don't forget, we both graduated from Dogs Inc. with honors.
Which means I can guide my human around a busy city with ease.
And I can give my human a restful night.
I hope my human is kind and loving.
And I hope mine likes wet kisses and zoomies.
Ready to make a difference?
Born ready. Let's go.
Discover how extraordinary dogs like Daisy and Max change lives at no cost to the recipients. Visit dogsinc.org.
Miss Fernandez, what are those tiny things?
Those are what we call amoebas. You can only see them through a microscope.
Wow. Today's students are tomorrow's great thinkers and innovators. But right now, there's a funding crisis in public schools. Millions of kids go to schools that don't have funding for books, computers, and so much more just because of where they live. You can help change that. Donors Choose is a nonprofit that lets you support students and teachers in your community and beyond. You choose which supplies to support. You could provide first graders with pencils and paper, or other students with their first chapter books, help a music class get a guitar.
You could even supply a classroom like mine with a science project. But what you're really giving is the moment that sparks a brighter tomorrow.
To learn more, please visit DonorsChoose.org. That's DonorsChoose.org. Choose students. Shape the future.
Hey guys, 13-year NFL veteran and Super Bowl champion Jason McCourty here, and I'm an innovation ambassador at FAIR, Food Allergy and Research Education. I would say the most challenging thing as a parent of a kid who has a food allergy is probably the ignorance that I myself had in the beginning. I didn't know what anaphylactic shock was. I didn't know the dangers, let alone the things that she needed to be able to have a normal life. When you go to drop your kid off, and every single time in the beginning, we'd have to go through everything she was allergic to. Preparation is everything. And me, for playing football for 13 years, it was all throughout the course of the week. It's getting ready for game day. When you're on the field, you're playing for your fans. At home, you're playing for your family. My playbook: read labels, keep it allergy friendly, and have an epinephrine nasal spray as a backup plan. Because when my family's safe from food allergens, that's the real victory. Visit foodallergy.org to learn more.
Attack and dominate. You're locked into Morning Juice.
Sponsored by Riverside Bank of Dublin.
Here's Bobby and Tito.
Bob, I got faith in you. I trust your knowledge. People say, did you look that up? I said, I just did. Bobby told me.
It's also saying don't believe everything you hear.
But I should believe everything I hear from you, shouldn't I?
I'm not telling you. I'm telling you it in good faith. I know that what I told you, there was
documented proof.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to say.
But Bob, that shows my faith in your abilities. And your,
yeah.
and your,
I'm right.
I know you are.
I knew it.
I didn't have to look that up, Bob.
I thought I had seen that somewhere. I thought I'd read something about it. I didn't spend a lot of time on it.
My issue with it, Bob, is that you seemed truly offended that I didn't look it up. I just took your word for it. And that's something we should probably dive into at some point, maybe the Monday show meeting. But I believed what you said.
Okay.
All right.
That's good.
You questioned me on it.
Or tomorrow's meeting. Since you were off last week, Bob, we just made the executive decision to double up this week.
Oh, good. Yeah. Double meetings. Yeah. Monday and Tuesday.
Two meetings?
Yeah. Monday and Tuesday. Oh, boy. You could have read that. Go on to that one, Bodie. That would have been fantastic to see that. Okay, Bob.
Fantastic's a word.
Another one. See, Bob, I'm not even going to look up fantastic. I know it's a word. I take your word for that one also.
All words are made up.
Yes. There we go. That's fair. Bob, before we get with Tyler Danburg from the play-by-play voice of your Ohio State women's basketball team, the spring practice starts back up this week.
Oh.
And I know we have Pro Day coming up as well. I don't know what your spring practice schedule was like as a player. Did you typically have a couple of practices and then a week off and then come back, or was that?
No, they didn't. They just started that when Urban got here.
Okay. I mean, and I don't know this, which is why I go to the source. That week of spring break, no practices, but I take it guys are probably still around in the facilities doing things, right?
No.
Are they locked out of facilities?
No, the facilities are open.
Okay.
Guys take vacations.
Okay, but like if I stayed on campus, could I go in there and work out on my own still? No issues.
They've got, they're open. They have opportunities to go in there and lift. I would work out. There's a handful of guys that stay, and a lot of the NFL guys, because they have Pro Day coming up on Wednesday.
Wednesday, I believe it is, yeah.
So they're going to, a lot of the times those guys are around. But yes, as far as those guys like being here, a lot of them leave. They go on, and they may not leave the whole week, but they're gone most of the time.
Okay, let's say there's 20 guys that stick around and go out there during the week of spring break to continue to work out and do things on their own. Are they allowed to have any kind of contact with coaches? Like,
what does that mean?
Okay, well, I mean, you can't have practices, okay? But can I go on my own and sit in a room with Matt Patricia and spend like 3 hours breaking down film and stuff, or would that count against something?
I don't know. I assume so.
Okay, I don't know if you knew the rules on the NCAA.
You're also assuming that the coach, like, people get time off.
Sure,
those guys work a lot, so I think a lot of the position coaches are gone, and then the strength coaches will rotate of who has to come in. They open it up. It's not like a formal thing. If people want to come in and get some work in, they have that opportunity.
That's what I was wondering about. I don't know if you knew much about how the NCAA rules are structured. If they could, like, even though they can't practice, can they still spend film time with a coach if the coach decides to stick around also?
I don't know how exactly that works. They've changed all those rules as of late.
Having a week off after 2 practices, they should get an idea real quick. Not that anybody would, but anybody who may have really enjoyed the week too much, huh?
Well, they're back working out today.
Right.
I mean, they may have had a meeting last night. But we would we started spring ball the first week after spring break.
Right.
So is it better to have 2 practices and then you get into that, or is it better just to dive right into it? Is it better to have 2 practices, then come in and do this, or is it better to just start right afterwards?
That's what I wonder about. I don't know. Do you have
the reason why you do it is you can have more meetings and more things. Once you start your spring ball time, then you're able to have more meetings and stuff wrapped around it.
So they get back today, and then you have pro day, like you said, this week. Is pro day something that would be of interest to fans to watch? I know there's some there, right?
Yeah. I don't know how that works. Of who
I used
comes
to think it was
in
like
there.
a lottery or something, or I don't know if it was student. No, it's just students, but I didn't know about that. But I'm just saying, like, is it because I've obviously I did not participate in a pro day at Ohio State. Shocker on that one. I know, Bob. Breaking news. But like as a fan, though, is that something that you think what you've seen from pro days, is that entertaining? Is it more just the wow factor and then seeing all these NFL guys, like,
the
Tomlin
thing is,
came
you're
every
sitting
year.
there quiet. I mean,
Right.
It's not like it's a cheerable event. Now, you want to see people throw passes and stuff and cheer, I guess, for that. But if you don't really know what you're watching, and then the other thing is, too, you move around on the field. And so you're doing sometimes drills in a 10-yard box. You may be 60 yards away from someone who's not elevated. You can't really see all that much.
Right.
So, yeah, there would be some intrigue. Like, I've brought people to it before, and they've enjoyed it. It's mostly the spectacle of, like, seeing all of the different coaches that are there and front office execs and everything else. So there you go.
Do you know, you might not know this, but do you know if, I would think obviously Sane will be out there throwing to the receivers. I don't know if Tavion or if they're going to bring anybody back. I know years ago, Troy Smith came back and threw at one of them.
Yeah,
like a long time ago.
Depending on your quarterback situation is who
Right.
can throw. And like sometimes there's been different rules throughout the years of who can participate, how much you can participate, what you can do. And sometimes you have more underclassmen that choose to go out there and do some things. And like we ran 40s as juniors at Pro Day. We were allowed to do that. That's what Tress would let us do.
So juniors could participate in that way.
Yes. And then they changed it, and I don't think you could do anything. And then they opened it back up, and nobody runs anymore, but they do position drills because I think they realize, like, some of these guys, is it better for them to bring in, if you're a quarterback, to bring in your high school receiver who probably
Right.
hasn't done anything, or find some guy from a small school that you've been working with? Or is it better just to have the guy throw to you here? And if you only have, by the way, if you have a couple receivers and a tight end coming out, you need more people in the group to keep it rolling. So guys have rest and opportunities. And so then they let some of the younger guys, I think, start doing it again. So that's kind of how they've balanced all that.
Speaking of the tight ends, I made the comment on Saturday, and I'm whiskers on this to hear what you think. I feel like Max Clare can improve his draft stock at Pro Day from the standpoint of, I know, watch the film. He's a great blocker, and he did make some catches. But like most Ohio State tight ends, they don't get featured prominently in the offense like other tight ends that go in the first couple rounds of drafts do. You're not going to see a guy put up shocking numbers at Ohio State. I wouldn't think as a tight end with all the wide receiver talent.
He did put up big numbers.
He put up good numbers. He put big numbers at Purdue. Yes, that's what I'm saying. And
so the numbers in the film is there on that.
Do you think though he has a chance though if he goes out there, if he can go out there and catch some passes and show re-show, if you will, show again to scouts? Is he one of the guys
you're not seeing anything on pro day that the scouts haven't already seen? It's mostly just to watch guys in person move around and do things. The film is going to be the film, and that's going to show what you need to see, regardless of whether you've caught 30 balls or 75 balls this year. I mean, he's mocked right there in the middle of the second round, which sounds about right to me.
Is there anybody then that you look at, though? You said, they pretty much know about these guys.
Yeah.
Is there anybody that jumps off the page to you, though, that says, like, this guy has a chance to really improve his stock, either based on something he may or may not have done?
I don't think you can
combine?
improve your stock, really, at pro day.
You can only hurt it?
I wouldn't say only hurt it. It's just a confirmation of what people already think. And so, yeah, if you go out there and you can move a little bit, but it's far less movement than what people actually think.
Okay.
Like nobody's putting, and that's true for parts of the combine as well. Like the film is going to tell you a lot more than those guys moving around and doing some things. Like you having suspicion about stuff of what they're doing and how they look. That's part of it. And then you get to pro day or your combine, and that's just confirmation of what you saw on the film.
Okay. Something else that I saw, I don't know how much, Bobby, you watched of it, the women's basketball that went on this past weekend. Ohio State took on Howard, and the Buckeyes got a big win in that first game over Howard. We are now joined by the play-by-play voice of the women's college basketball team, Tyler Danburg. Ohio State takes on Notre Dame today at 4 o'clock over there at the Shot. Tyler Danburg. Tyler, good morning. Thanks for taking the time. And as you were watching the Ohio State-Howard game, the Buckeyes came out, looked like they've been off for a couple weeks, a little bit sluggish. Once that defense got going, though, it was like it was turned on a dime, and they dominated after that.
Yeah, they really did, Tito. Bobby, Bodie, great to be with you guys. Yeah, that first quarter definitely showed that they were on a 2-week break. And, it's really tough after they go pretty much 8 games in 2.5 weeks. You got 3 games in 3 days against really good teams in the Big Ten tournament, and then you just practice against yourselves for a week and a half. That's a hard thing to do. And that second quarter, they turned things up, and they went to the full court press, and it just looked like Howard was kind of in a daze. It is really interesting to see some of these teams come in, whether that's in the non-conference at the start of the year and the first round of the NCAA tournament when mid-majors come and play Ohio State. Ohio State's defense in the full court press is so unique and it's so overwhelming that it's hard for some of these teams that don't play the Buckeyes year in, year out, have a lot of trouble with it, and that's what Howard had.
So, pressing forward here, taking on Notre Dame today, 4 o'clock. What will the challenges be against taking on the Irish?
Well, Bobby, the biggest challenge, and Bodie knows, is Hannah Hidalgo. She nearly put up a quadruple double 2 days ago against Fairfield in the first round of the NCAA tournament. She is as good a guard as there is in the country. She is 13 steals away from breaking the single-season college basketball steals record, and I think that's the biggest challenge. Talking to Kevin McGuff yesterday, he said that she is so good at forcing live ball turnovers. She is suffocating defensively, and she is so efficient offensively. And really, she's the head of the snake for that Notre Dame team. So you can't really stop her. You can't really neutralize her. But I think Ohio State, its biggest key is going to be slowing it down. And then Notre Dame as a team, now that they're back at full strength, they've gotten hot at the right time. And that's what March is all about. They've won 10 of their last 12, 9 of their last 10, 7 of their last 8. And what they do well is they shoot the ball. I mean, they're really efficient. They're 18th in the country in field goal percentage. They get to the free throw line. They're 10th in the nation in free throw percentage. And they can light it up from deep, too. So I think taking care of the ball is going to be one of the biggest keys for Ohio State. Slowing down Notre Dame in the half court and trying to slow down Hannah Hidalgo, one of the best guards in the country. And by the way, Ohio State's got one of the best guards in the country, too, in Jelani Cambridge.
Tyler Danburg joins us, play-by-play voice of the Ohio State women's basketball team. Buckeyes taking on Notre Dame at 4 o'clock today over at the Shot for a berth in the Sweet 16. What is the kryptonite for this Ohio State team? If they go up against a team that does this, it might not end well for Ohio State.
I think rebounding. Rebounding when Ohio State is at its best. I mean, the Buckeyes are rebounding, and they address that in the offseason with bringing in some more length and some more height with the 6'4" redshirt freshman Kylie Kitts. And when she missed those 5 games due to injury, the rebounding went down a little bit. And as she was working her way back into the fold, they were still trying to get to that mark. But I think they show that they can go toe-to-toe against some of the better rebounding teams, like when they weren't in a negative rebound margin against UCLA, a team that's starting lineup averages 6 feet 4 inches, which is just crazy. But I think Notre Dame and Ohio State are not identical, but they're two very similar teams in that they play up-tempo, they play really fast, and they're smaller too. So I think that could help Ohio State on the glass today. But I think rebounding, if they're going to make a deep tournament run here, they're definitely going to have to win the board battle.
You think the up-tempo game by Notre Dame plays better into Ohio State?
I think it could, because, you know, you've lived it when it's best on best, Bobby. You know, that definitely does wonders for a team. I think that Ohio State, you know, they always say there's fast and there's Ohio State fast when it comes to women's college basketball. They pride themselves on being the hardest practicing, hardest working team in the country, and they go up and down in practice a long, long time. So I think they're well equipped to manage that. And I think that, you know, yesterday there was a key emphasis at the start of practice on transition offense, just getting up and down and working on inbound passes just to get the ball in, because Notre Dame, if you go back and watch that game against Fairfield on Saturday from the Shot, they don't make it easy to get an inbound pass in the full court press. And Ohio State, contrarily, does the exact same thing. But I do think it is a benefit knowing that the Buckeyes have seen fast teams, and they are fast teams, and they go against each other in practice every single day since the summer. I think that does have a good effect on today's game.
Jelani Cambridge obviously has a big game. Jelani Cambridge, a big game for Ohio State, 21 points in 28 minutes. She's so much fun to watch, but 9 people in total scored for the Buckeyes. Did somebody's performance stand out to you among those other players other than Cambridge?
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, Tito, because Coach McGuff has said time and time again, this team is at its best when everybody's scoring. I think the X factor in that game coming off the bench, because the Buckeyes have been looking for bench scoring and a bench piece coming off throughout the season, is Kylie Kitts. She had 9 points in 17 minutes, also grabbed 5 boards, some really strong minutes coming off the bench. She missed 5 games due to a shoulder injury about a month and a half back, and working her way back. She's been putting together some more confident performances, and I think that's been big. And then when she was out, Ava Watson, sophomore from Buford, Georgia, she's played with Jelani Cambridge since they were in 6th grade. And if you want another fun player to watch, I mean, there's a lot of them for Ohio State. She never stops working. I mean, she's a pest defensively. If you're the opposing ball handler, you would be so frustrated having to face Jelani and Kennedy Cambridge, Jelani's older sister, Ava Watson, because they just don't take a play off, and they don't give you any separation when they meet you at half court. So she was another one whose performance impressed. And then Chance Gray, senior from Cincinnati, she's kind of been one of the heartbeats of the team when it comes to leadership. You know, she's for a younger team, she's been the voice of reason and the voice of leadership in that locker room. And she has really set the culture and chemistry of this team. And Kevin McGuff said that, you know, there were unknowns to start the year. Cody McMahon transferred to Ole Miss. You lose an All-American. There were some unknowns. And I think people forget that this team started the year unranked. But what McGuff did know, the only thing he said he did know was that there was a quiet internal confidence because they had good chemistry. And Chance Gray, who had a great game on Saturday, double figures, 20 of her last 21 ball games, she's been one of the key institutors of that.
Appreciate the time, Tyler. Thank you so much. Are you packing for Fort Worth?
Got to take it one game at a time, Tito.
McGuff has trained you well. Thanks, brother. Appreciate it. Have a great call today. We'll talk to you soon, hopefully.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Tyler Danburg there, play-by-play voice of the Ohio State Lady Buckeyes. 4 o'clock again today is when they take on Notre Dame, and Bodie Wells and Steve Kerr, and who else do we have there? Patrick, all you guys, you people. Go ahead, Bob.
Do you need a bank that truly values local business in this town? The opportunity to work alongside them as partners, whether you have a small business or a large operation, Riverside Bank of Dublin has the right tools for the job. Riverside Bank of Dublin has the experience of working right here locally in Central Ohio. They understand the business climate in our area, and they're going to help you reach your goals. So whether you need an SBA loan to get your business off the ground, a line of credit to keep your business running smoothly, or equipment financing to get your business up to scale, Riverside Bank will tailor a solution that fits your needs. Visit them at riverside.bank or stop in and get to know them at 6300 France Road, Riverside Bank of Dublin, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Coming up next, we'll close things out. Tell you what's got us juice. Morning Juice.
James Laurinaitis here for my guys at Green & Sons, the premier Kubota dealership in Central Ohio. Green & Sons has all the Kubotas you need to tackle your land and come out a winner. They have zero-turn skid steers, tractors from 18 to 171 horsepower, and also utility vehicles. My favorite is my RTV Sidekick. The best thing about Green & Sons is they've been family-owned and operated since 1970, and you will love dealing with the Green family and their winning team. Do what I did and check out Green & Sons located in Mount Sterling and Marysville, or online at greenandsons.com for all your Kubota needs.
Enough already.
We can do more.
Enough already. We can find a cure.
Enough already.
We can do better for our kids.
Enough already. We are relying on you.
We can come together to support Children's Cancer Research Fund, a national nonprofit dedicated to ending childhood cancer that is on the front line of breakthroughs. Because
it's enough already.
Go to childrenscancer.org today.
I always tell people I was the luckiest guy in the world. I wanted to be an Army man or a fireman, and I got to do both. As a firefighter, my job was about saving lives. I never thought one day I would be fighting for mine.
After spending his career answering the call to save others, Ken was diagnosed with ALS. Now he's facing his biggest battle, for more time. For 70 years, Muscular Dystrophy Association has been answering the call to help people live longer and more independent lives.
MDA means to me hope.
MDA is leading the way for people living with ALS, muscular dystrophy, and other neuromuscular diseases by accelerating research, advancing care, and advocating to empower families like Ken's.
I wouldn't be living as good of a life with ALS if it wasn't for MDA. MDA is helping people live stronger and love longer. Learn more at mda.org today.
Once there was a man who couldn't stand.
A mom who couldn't wait.
A scientific community that said it couldn't be done.
And then you.
And then I.
And then we brought neuromuscular disease into screaming color with the Muscular Dystrophy Association.
For 75 years, our voices have thundered through the halls of Congress.
We've willed the impossible into existence.
We've pushed the science,
raised the funds,
shifted the narrative,
and transformed the reality of life with neuromuscular diseases.
For 75 years, we've built communities together.
Established the field of neuromuscular medicine,
and made it thrive.
Call that a legacy.
Call it impact.
Call it momentum.
Just call it ours.
Because it's the generations of community heroes that give MDA the strength we have today.
And until neuromuscular disease is a thing of the past, you couldn't stop us if you tried.
Join us and celebrate 75 years of breakthroughs at mda75.org.
Tito invited the new Russian family who moved in down the street to watch Rocky IV. It did not go well.
I must break you.
This is Morning Juice.
Morning Juice. The Madness here for Ohio State women's basketball. The Buckeyes face Notre Dame today in the second round of the NCAA tournament. Coverage begins at 3:45, live on the Fan 2, 97.1 HD2 and 1460 AM, chasing the championship. Presented by Logan Services, a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Bob, you've had some time off. Lots of time to think about this. Ooh. I need to know first, are we going to get emotional at all?
I don't even know what that means, man.
The fans know it, and I know it too, Bob. That's okay. We'll get into it now.
What's got you juiced?
Sponsored by Newman Roofing. For all your roofing, gutter, or siding needs, call Newman Roofing today at 614-NEW-ROOF or visit online at newmanroofing.com.
All right, Carp.
Oh, you know what's got me juiced is deleting all the emails when you're not at work for a week and going through and seeing all the things I'm glad I didn't see. I have to be here for some of it. Other stuff of just the phishing alerts and all the things. And I always wonder who clicks on some of this stuff. It really is interesting to me because some of this stuff clearly looks fake. And then there's this other stuff that's got me juiced in a negative way. I got a text sent to me. It was actually sent to my son first. And he's like, Dad. And he sends it to me. And it literally looks like a court affidavit about like a traffic violation that you need to click. Like there was no link, but it said, go here, pay this there, or else you're going to have a summons in court. And it looks really official. I'll show it to you, Bodes.
My wife got one too, yeah.
It was wild. And then so my son, I go, send that to me. And I was like looking at my wife. I go, this doesn't seem real. Like, it can't be, right? And then I got one. And then I got another one from two different numbers. I'm like, definitely not real. You overplayed your hand. If you just would have sent one to the family, then I think I may have like had to spend a little more time on it. But I'm like, that. I looked at my wife. I go, how the hell does this not get my parents? Like, I mean, I go, I'm sitting here thinking about this. My son's like all over because he's like, Dad, you know, what did it? And I'm thinking, was this like a traffic light cam? Was this something? I mean, just trying to figure it out.
Oh, it's trafficking something.
Yes. And my goodness, I give them credit. This is where we're at in society now. You used to have to take some initiative, you know, go get a firearm, go rob a convenience store or a bank. Now you can just sit at home. They send it right to you. Yeah, and the money just appears in your account. This poof right there, they send it right to you. Crazy, but a good week. Spring break was a lot of fun. Kids had a great time. The weather was really good. They got to run up on Epstein Island. They were really excited about that. You know, the other kids that were there probably don't share the same enthusiasm as you guys, but you know what? They got some rocks. They got some shells. They're going to give to their friends. Souvenirs. They're going to give them to their friends. I'm like, this is the most ridiculous thing that I've ever seen. Going through there, but it was a lot of fun. The water was beautiful, and I'd never been to the U.S. Virgin Islands, like really, for an extended period of time. We've stopped there before on the cruise, but like the Bahamas are really flat, and like Grand Cayman, like really flat. Turks and Caicos, really flat. It was really pretty. I enjoy the elevation, and probably it's because I'm from Southern Ohio, like Southeastern Ohio, and you get a lot of the rolling hills and the topography, and it had a lot of like all of the islands all were quote mountainous, if you will, and you know went up probably a couple 100 feet, which was really pretty to be in the bays and to see all that. All the travel was great. It was even so good that when we flew out on Sunday morning, and I may have even stayed up a little late enjoying myself too much on Saturday night. Got up there, had them all packed, had to repack everything because of the weight distribution among bags. And I dropped my kids. I was going to go park in the garage and then come back. I realized we forgot one of the bags, drove home, got it. We still all got through security. Everything worked super smooth. Got down there, a lot of fun. Coming back, not as lucky. St. Thomas Airport isn't really air conditioned as you would think. And we're supposed to take off at noon, so we got there at 9. Got through everything, which thankfully that was okay. Flight was canceled. Scrambling to get back. So I did a mental health event down in Portsmouth, Ohio with my guys Scooney Penn and Troy Smith. That was a lot of fun and hopefully did some good stuff with some awareness and talking to some young high school kids about it. So I think that was very beneficial, but I needed to get back for that. So I told the lady, I need to be in Columbus by 9 a.m. tomorrow. I don't care how that has to happen. If you have to separate me from my family, I told them I would be here. I'm like, however many seats we have, we can figure that out. And thankfully, we were able to get 6 seats on the last flight out. But instead of landing at 7:30 on Friday night, having some time to get down there, relax, get some stuff done, we landed at 1 a.m., got home about 1:30. So a little different expectation. And my wife was like, wait, you're drinking on the plane right now coming back? I'm like, yeah. I wasn't planning on it, but I also wasn't planning on sitting in an unair-conditioned airport for 9 hours where there weren't any seats, sitting on the floor, just walking around and paying $8 for a bottle of water. And they didn't even have a drinking fountain in there. I'm like, this is supposed to be America. That's what I was told. The U.S. Virgin Islands, St. Thomas, this is supposed to be America. It was much more third world than American. So not great. We did make it back. The crews that took care of us, the flight attendants were lovely, and they were tremendous people. The rebooking that went on there, maybe not the best. from that standpoint. But a little good juice, a little bad juice. Watching the TCU game, not a ton of juice in that. Was sad, then pretty happy, and then sad ultimately at the end. Nice little roller coaster of emotion. Watching that game was like being Dickie V, not Dickie V, Jim Valvano. Just laugh, cry, think. I mean, all those things were going on during the game. But that had me juiced. And then actually I was driving down to Portsmouth on Saturday morning, talking to my in-laws. I was like, hey, I think that was Schleiss that just passed me on the road. Of course, gave him a call. Hold on, brother, my Bluetooth isn't connecting to the truck. I'm like, that's you on 23? Yeah, I was down at the farm. Okay, well, that's great. Just passed you. Talked to him for about a half hour. So he got back to Columbus. Buckeyes, so what's he got to say?
I really don't like leaving the country because I can't take guns with me when I go there. I'm well protected and well trained. Gas station ready all the time and knows no international boundaries, that's for sure. I would just rather stay at home and be with my peoples.
I think you can take a gun on a plane. You might just,
have to check it.
Well, that, and you may not, if you do it, illegally, you may not be going home from that plane, right? Yeah. All right, guys, got a few things for you here. Had a pretty good weekend, pretty good 3-day weekend, honestly. So that had big juice for sure. The weather yesterday was fantastic. Weather last night was not great. Woke up at, I don't know, a quarter after 10 o'clock, not from the soft mattress or the art show in my room, but because hail was nailing my windows so loud that, so a little tired on this Monday morning, but that's all right. Wanted to fire off a few clips here. I don't know that this was the best first 2 rounds of the NCAA tournament, but I think it's safe to say this might have been one of the better quotable ones, we'll say. Here was, let's start with, how about Villanova's head coach who decided during one of the media timeouts, I'm done with my assistant coaches.
16 paid points for Utah State. How do you keep them out?
I'm going to fire my staff because we've...
Not now.
Yeah, I am, because we've given up 8 points on underneath out of bounds defense. So
how about I double down on that?
Fire them and get a new staff.
And then here was Prairie View A&M during one of the media timeouts, their head coach when they were playing Florida on Friday.
Coach, Florida on an 18-0 run here. What more do you need from your guys to slow this down and get into their game?
They would need some help from the Lord. They're very good. They're very good.
Need some help from the Lord. And then probably my favorite, last but not least, St. John's winning at the buzzer yesterday. And here was their head coach Rick Pitino on Dylan Darling, who made that buzzer beater shot.
Great. They just stayed with it. Dylan Darling, he's got balls as big as church bells. I mean, unbelievable.
As big as church bells. That's it's a pretty rather large size there, Tito. And you know what? One more just for good measure. We always talk about people's birthdays, and I don't know when this guy's birthday is, but he's 83 going on about 43, Mr. Bill Raftery.
Croswell. Give it up. Oh, 96. Wow. Take me to the Balkans, please.
83 years old and still just killing it on the broadcast, man. Him, and I remember the first time I heard him call Ian Eagle Bird, and I'm like, did he just say Vern? Like, did he forget who he's doing the game with? And so I had to look that one up. It's like the
Bird
Eagle.
Man.
Yeah, so there you go. So that all had me juiced. Fun weekend of watching basketball, and I think that's all I got. Oh, you know what? I don't know if we got enough time here, Carp, but season 2's in the books.
Oh, and we don't
We're just ripping episodes over the weekend. Just stuff's happening, man. I'm not going to lie, I had to find myself a little chart and a map with some names.
Yeah.
And you know how when you watch a movie on Amazon Prime, if you like pause it, it'll like show the actual actors and actresses. Yeah. I feel like Game of Thrones could really use that because there's some points where it's like I can't really remember how this character came into this world, but half the time they're gone as soon as they show up. So that you start just killing people. That's one way to shrink the field.
A lot of death.
But yeah, that's that had me just over the last week, frankly.
Season 2, yeah.
So we'll fire up probably gonna fire up season 3 today at some point. But Tito.
Yep.
That all has me juiced, sir. What also has me juiced is I look up at the television and watch the beloved Jeremiah Love just running over everybody. So
must be regular season games. Bobby, and we're in the trust tree here and no one's judging. I want to make sure I get the timeline right on this, and I would not judge you, like say, either way.
But
you said you dropped your kids off at the airport, went to go park.
Yep.
And realized you'd forgotten a bag.
Yep.
Did you get the kids and pick them back up?
Why?
That's what I don't know. That's why your kids are old enough. I'm just saying. I didn't know. You said we drove back home and got the bag. You meant you did.
The royal we.
Okay, that's what I meant. That's what I was asking. Because I would assume that you'd be the kind of guy who'd be okay. Trust your kids.
Yeah. Well, they were going to go through and do the stuff on their own anyway. You don't need me.
Whose bag was it?
Well.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Well, first of all, it was a bag, not a kid, right?
Yeah,
Home alone.
It was a bag, not a kid. Right. It was one of the carry-ons that we're going to have, and it got moved from one counter to the next. I mean, it was not great. I'm like, where's this one? And they're like, what are you talking about? It's not in the back. It's like, oh gosh.
Oh, I can't imagine what your reaction was.
Well, you solved the problem. There were things in there that we needed, so I had to go home, and
I got you.
You know, thankfully we live close enough. It's about a 25-minute round trip.
Yeah.
Parked in the garage, got on over there, and
there you go.
It all worked.
Let's see what's got me juiced. Yesterday, Roy Bodie, was gorgeous outside. Absolutely gorgeous. Such a great day. My kid actually complained about being too hot. I'm sweating a lot, Dad.
You want to be hot?
Right? Yeah, so
get on that goal line.
Much different today. Did we get hail, Bob? Did you get hail at your house?
Oh, it was about 9:50, 10 o'clock. It was loud.
Okay.
Loud. I was like, what is going on? My wife's like, it's hot in here. I want to sleep with the window open. It's like, it's going to be 40 at some point. And you're going to wake up in the middle of the night and it's going to be freezing, which is what happened.
I was down in the basement watching basketball solo, so I did not catch any of that.
It was loud.
Yeah. And fell asleep in the red recliner, which is always a good way to go to sleep without a CPAP for a while. Makes the throat feel really good in the morning. So let's see what's got the weather's not be juiced today, but it was
it's supposed to be decent though, at least.
My wife and I took an e-bike. Got the Jeep fired up. My wife and I we got our kids e-bikes, rode them around since they were out doing other stuff.
It's 4th of July?
Yeah.
It's March.
Fun. So anyway,
snowed last Monday, Bob.
I heard about that. I was like, this looks terrible.
Yes.
Hopefully it's melted by the time I get back.
Oh, it's gone.
I am juiced that the three of us are back together. Bob, are you here all week?
Yeah, I'll be here all week.
All right. So I want to make sure
we're here for a number of weeks.
We're going to be Tito and friends for the next week or so in the near future. Somebody, Spieth in the comments made a funny comment that Carpenter's guest hosting today, which he thought was cool. Spieth's a funny guy. It's always in the chat, many chats. Cool. Anyway, thank you to Bill Bender for joining us. Thank you to Tyler Danburg as well. Juiced about the Ohio State women's game today. Going to check that out. Also, Juice said, hey, our time doesn't end together at 8 o'clock, guys. We got another 10 minutes or so together for the Monday meeting, and we'll make sure we live cast that one for people that will watch it on YouTube.